Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Unemployed Steve Barber, and joining me is my awesome co-host, as always, is delicious Dwaylon Davis, the intellectual rock star himself.
Hey, everybody.
And yeah, I just have to say the unemployed part because technically, as of about 1 o'clock in the afternoon last Thursday, I am not employed. Um, and actually, it would have been like that this week anyway. Um,
Right.
but I was supposed to have something lined up that I was supposed to start next Monday, and it fell through at the
Mm-hmm.
last minute. But no, I was not about to rescind my notice at work because
Yeah.
I
Nah.
already, yeah,
Nah.
because if I'd have kept on, yeah, I was probably about one more 70-hour week away from having to go to the hospital. And
Oh, yeah. You'd have been on the hospital or on the evening news.
yes, so left the job I'd been working for almost 10 years, left a great team that I was on, actually had a good boss, great director. And but I had to step away, because when your health, it's affecting your health and it's affecting your family, you got to say maybe the money's not worth it.
Yeah.
And then especially when the money definitely was not worth it when we were getting underpaid, especially for the hours
Mm-hmm.
we were working.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that came up from a lot higher than our local leadership. That came up from really high. So for some people who were about 1,000 miles away, in
Mm-hmm.
a totally different part of the country. But like I said, I'm unemployed, but I am looking. Hopefully, I can find something that is remote because my wife is actually working full time now. That was actually something else that was not happening when I put in my notice. Uh,
Right.
so we kind of, came that kind of fell in our lap too because she was only working seasonally, and the woman she was there to support all of a sudden quit.
Hmm.
So they ended up giving the position full time to my wife, and so now she's working full time. And if you listen to my other podcast, the Cubicle Chat podcast, I've actually been talking all about that, about changes. And I made an
Mm.
episode last week talking about changes. And then today or yesterday when I recorded, I called it Roll with the Changes. Just like the REO Speedwagon song, my friend.
Yep. Yep.
Gotta roll with the changes.
Mm-hmm.
So um and now, trying to focus on wrestling. So now, oddly enough, I'm starting my routine this week of getting up and not going to work, which
Mm-hmm.
seems really weird after,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm in the same boat. I've been unemployed for a little over a month now, and I worked at my job for 10 years, and it was like it's really weird, especially the first couple of weeks getting up, and it's like, well, what am I supposed to do with myself?
right.
It's like I'm so used to, getting up and clocking in and working, and it's like uh, I don't know what to do.
Mhm. And I know we're both looking. So,
Hmm.
for any of our listeners, if you know of anything, especially that we can do remote, because Dwaylen was working remote full time,
Hmm. Yep.
uh, so that would help. Neither one of us can really do much physical labor anymore. Uh,
Nah. No.
especially Dwaylen because of um the steel rod in his back, which technically makes him the Man of Steel, which makes me wonder why he likes Batman so much. And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, refer to Dwaylen as the intellectual rock star because that is his other podcast, the intellectual rock star, which his latest episode. Please tell us the latest episode. And I didn't already miss another one. You take
it's on Two Face. It's
two.
called
Okay,
the tragic story of Two Face.
and I listened to it today, and I got to and learned actually a lot about Two Face, a lot of stuff I didn't necessarily know. But I had to text you because we're talking about Billy D. Williams, of course, was
Yeah.
Harvey Dent, but then they switched it up when they did, the one with Two Face, and it was
Uh-huh.
um
Yeah.
oh my God, who was it?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones, yes. So
Mhm.
Billy D. Williams, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
So and I said I texted Dwayne and I said Billy D. Williams. I said I cannot see him actually being Two Face because he is just too handsome and smooth.
Hmm.
Can you imagine him saying, "All right, I'm going to flip a coin"?
Yeah.
He'd go and rob a bank, And the tellers, he'd be as mean as what he could get, and the tellers would still be slipping their phone numbers and their
Oh
husbands'
yeah,
work schedules into the bag.
yeah,
So, and come on over during these times here,
yeah. It's like,
you know.
oh man,
Yeah, Billy D. Williams could not be Two Face. He's just like, all right, and he would get
yeah.
the Millennium Falcon and just go
Oh yeah, and just disappear. Yeah,
with what you say, a Colt 45 in his hand.
yeah,
And if anybody
yep,
doesn't know what we're referencing, that was
yeah.
his commercial. He was on the Colt
Mm-hmm.
45s.
Yeah.
Um, oh, well, I know this goes back a ways. Weren't Colt 45s known as eight balls also?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it okay? Wow, that's
Yep.
a reference I had
Yeah.
not even thought about in a very long time.
Yeah, me either. Yep.
Uh, but since I'm pretty sure everybody came to hear us talk about wrestling, you know, this week's episode kind of wrote itself a little bit. I mean, because we knew we were going to probably end up doing a review of Backlash, which I thought was
Mhm.
a pretty decent pay per view. Um,
My opinion is probably the best backlash they've ever done. And a lot of that
yeah,
had to do with the the crowd. That crowd was
yes,
so hot all night for everything. And it's I love those crowds because
hmm
it's like you could tell they were excited to have wrestling there in Puerto Rico. And they appreciated everybody and every athlete that came out there, the fans appreciated them, whether they were heel or face. They still got, good responses from the fans, and the fans were invested in like every match.
and I think that goes to that's really speaks volumes about the rich wrestling history that's in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
With the WWC, the World Wrestling Council, that was ran by Carlos Colon and Ray Gonzalez, who, well, we don't I don't want to talk a lot about him. We'll just say the Invader, because
Yeah.
he was Invader one, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the Invaders, there was, I think, three. I knew there was at least two, but I was thinking there may have been
I
three.
think there was a third one. Yeah.
But yeah, but the WWC used to have some just brutal matches.
Oh yeah.
They were so
Yeah.
awesome. They were so much
Yeah.
fun to
They were
watch.
great, but they were some of the most violent matches I've ever seen.
Yeah, like you had the Invaders versus the Sheep Herders, and sometimes they would do the barbed wire matches,
Mm-hmm.
and of course we just lost. They call them bushwhackers by the time went
Yeah.
to WWE. But for those of you who have still not gone back and found some of the old footage of the bushwhackers before they were whacking bushes, when they were the sheep herders, it is night and day.
Night and day. I mean, they were the comedy act. They were the bottom of the rung in the tag division. They were just there to, be stepping stones for tag teams to move up. And they were the comedy act. They were over with kids, and which was great because they'd already put in their time. They throughout their career they'd already put in their time. Go get the easy payday. I don't blame them after what they'd put their body through for years.
Yes.
But the sheep herders were just,
Woo.
oh Lord, they were as close to serial killers as you're ever going to get in pro wrestling. They were just psychopaths. And if you heard that the sheep herders were going to be on the card, prepare you had to prepare yourself for blood because they were
Yeah.
bleeding. They were bleeding. The opponent was bleeding. Sometimes the referee was bleeding,
hmm
but it was violent. Every match they ever had as the sheep herders ended in violence.
Check out the sheep herders versus the Fantastics. Check out the sheep herders versus the Invaders.
Hmm.
Those are the ones that were probably the best known. And even the Fantastics, even Bobby Fulton himself, when Butch Miller passed away a month ago, he said those were some of his favorite matches that he was involved in. Because they were just so. You would expect a team like the Fantastics, who were like the pretty boy fan favorites,
Hmm.
and they were. I mean, they had to get vicious too. And
Oh
he
yeah,
said it was just so much fun. And
it's kind of like that time. I think it was 90, maybe 96. It was Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley and his Mankind persona, and the story was as violent as Mankind was. Sean was going to have to go to that level in order to compete. And that's what the Fantastics had to do with the sheep herders. They had to get as dirty as the sheep herders in order to survive.
Yep. And that saying, um, I mean, yeah, because they were on a different level of like this brutal and bloody. I mean, I think the only person I can actually think of off the top of my head that would, or actually two people, I say Abdullah and the original Sheik.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Those are the yeah, there's the only two I can think of off the top of my head who were who
Yeah.
could have matched
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they probably had some matches either against or tagging with Abdullah at some point because he
Oh,
was
I'm sure.
he was another mainstay down in the WWC. But like you said, I mean, this may have been the best Backlash event they've ever had, and it goes a
Mm-hmm.
testament to the crowd. The first match, um, which was it was Bianca and oh come on now where there's I'm trying to look it up on Wikipedia so I get their the order right. Yeah, Bianca against Io Sky.
Oh, excellent match. It
Yeah,
was amazing. I mean, I knew EO wasn't going to win because she got drafted to SmackDown, but this is the EO Sky that I saw in Stardom in Japan. This is the EO Sky that I saw as the NXT Women's Champion in Black and Gold NXT. Um, she is phenomenal, and I'm
me
glad that they gave her this platform to showcase what she's capable of doing. And like Michael Cole said, he's like, this is the EO Sky that the fans have been waiting to see.
yeah he's kind of I don't know if we call it breaking the fourth wall, but he's um being a little bit of a rebel, not he's actually acknowledging something outside the WWE bubble.
Yeah,
And there was one part of the match that I had to go, ooh, and
the one armed,
yep,
yep, yep, the one arm press. And then when she dropped her, she landed like right on her face.
yeah,
It was like, yeah, for a minute, I was like, but
uh,
I mean, she popped back up and
she did.
kept
Um,
going.
she looked not real happy about it. So
Yeah,
I have a feeling, that may have been a little bit of a botch. That actually could have ended very
might
badly,
have
but
been. And I get why Bianca was doing it because she had to sell the arm,
she did.
which I give her credit. She didn't do what a lot of wrestlers do in this age, and somebody works on a body part, and then all of a sudden they hulk up and just
Yeah.
forget about the injury. And no, she sold the arm. It's
Hmm.
just from that angle, there was no safe way for her to put EO down.
Yeah. So EO, I'm not going to put the blame on EO, for smashing herself in the face, but
No,
maybe she couldn't get herself, you
yeah,
know,
she might have been able. Yeah, she might have not have been able to move right. And then with Bianca selling the arm, you know, she showed off her power, but doing it one handed, you know, there's only so much grip that you have.
yeah.
So,
And I do like how they are kind of planting the seeds for damage
hmm,
control to probably split. Even though
yeah,
I wish they would keep them together, but they haven't been
I
using
wish they
damage.
would.
Mm,
Yeah, if they kept them together and did something with them, something substantial with them, that would be great. But it's like they're just using them as like jobbers to the stars.
and that's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Bailey, former world champion, former women's champion,
Hmm. Yep.
NXT and
Yeah.
on the main roster, and she was so over a couple years ago.
Hmm.
Um, she was so over that it was the perfect time to switch her because you turn them whenever they're at the peak of whatever either the
Yeah.
most hated or the most loved. You
Yeah.
switch them and then the momentum carries.
Yep.
And then
Look
she
at
got
Seth.
hurt, but yeah, Seth, yeah, exactly. And so I mean, yeah, that match was absolutely phenomenal. And speaking of Seth, he was in the next match, which actually was better than what I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you got your classic David versus Goliath type match, but Omos worked hard. You know, Seth, you know, worked the lower body, trying to chop
Hmm.
him down. Um, I did like the elevated curb stomp. I did
Yep.
like had to employ that to beat him, which is good because he had to take drastic measures in order to beat this giant. So
Right.
I still wish Omos had a won just because he needed
Same
to
here.
win more than Seth.
Yep.
But going into the World Heavyweight Title tournament, Seth was going to be one of the favorites, so Seth was going to be the one that needed the momentum going in.
Part of me says that, but then the other part says if Seth had lost and then going into this tournament, quote unquote, for those on audio only, tournament,
Yeah,
if he would have gone in, he would have looked like, oh, well, you just lost. But
you
now,
just lost. Why are you even here? Yeah.
right. And then to turn around and boom, 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 now he's in the finals of the
Mm-hmm.
tournament for the
Yeah.
world title. Look, if every title's a
Yeah.
world title, no title's a world title.
Yep.
So, but we'll save that till later. We'll be discussing that title,
Yeah.
the,
Oh
the,
yeah.
the tournament later on. But
Yeah, because I have some thoughts.
yeah, but I mean, I thought that the match because we're looking at almost going the the bad thing, or if you want to call it a negative or the drawback of having somebody that big
hmm
is they're so big it limits what you can do with them
hmm
because and almost he is a monster.
I mean, he's 7'3", 400 pounds.
Yeah, and but he's not going to be doing like aerial moves,
No, he's not
and
throwing a drop kick or doing anything off the top rope or anything like that. He's just going to beat the crap out of you. It's just he's going to use power.
yeah, and even when he comes off the ropes, if you
hmm
notice, he has to do it like Rey Mysterio does it because Rey's so short, he does it on the bottom
hmm
two ropes only. Well, almost
Yeah.
has to lean back too because if he doesn't, he's going to end up toppling over every
Yeah, he's
time.
going to go over the top. Yeah. Yeah.
And but it did show. I like how it did show his athleticism more.
hmm
Because almost he is a legitimate athlete. He
Yeah.
played NCAA basketball at University of South Florida.
Yeah.
Division I school. So he is a legitimate athlete, and not every person that big is necessarily.
Yeah. A lot of people that are that big just really, I mean, look at the great Khali. Like, great Khali hardly had any mobility, much less any athleticism.
Right.
So,
Greg Khali was a power lifter, but a
yeah.
power lifter doesn't mean you. It gives you're strong. I mean
Yeah.
you're like stupid strong,
Yeah.
but it
But
doesn't mean you're not agile though.
yep.
And almost, I mean it's weird. It's like when he tries to get that mean look, it almost looks like he's almost trying not to laugh when he does it, like like you
Yeah.
want to do to a little kid.
Yeah.
But I hope with almost they can actually please do something with him because you know I think they're kind of not doing him right right now.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, send him to NXT. Let him run roughshod there for a while.
Yeah, and whatever
Because
what happened.
I mean, he's a free agent. He hasn't been assigned to a brand.
Oh,
So
there you go. What happened to Aziz, Commander Aziz, the other 7 foot whatever Nigerian?
they, he was out. I think he was out with an injury. He comes back in NXT. Apollo Crews was there. He ends up saving Apollo Crews from like a 2-on-1 beatdown and then attacks Apollo Crews. Nothing ever came of that. They never had they never had a real feud, never had a match or anything like that. And then Apollo Crews got drafted to Raw in this past draft, and no mention of Aziz at all.
Oh, speaking of somebody they've wasted, Apollo Crews.
hmm
But
Yeah.
and this is kind of slightly off topic. Did you see the recent thing where somebody was they were saying that they're like, yeah, we want Apollo Crews to start speaking with this accent all of a sudden, and Apollo Crews apparently didn't want to do it because he had not been speaking with an accent,
Yeah. And he just, yeah.
and it's
I
like,
mean, something like that worked with Booker T because it was played for laughs when
yeah,
he was doing King Booker
King
and
Booker,
trying to do the British accent. But
right?
yeah, all of a sudden it's like you go from an American accent to a Nigerian accent. And it's like, he wasn't talking this way his entire WWE career. And then all of a sudden, he's doing this.
Yeah, and it looks bad. I'll just I'll
Yeah.
just leave it at that. It looks
Yeah.
bad for them to be
Yeah.
doing that, and I'm pretty sure Paula Cruz thinking, you know, getting paid. So,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it did bring him the intercontinental. He did get
he
the
did.
intercontinental title while he was, while he was doing that gimmick. He also got a match at WrestleMania. So,
He did actually. The
I
well,
mean, there was some,
it was a goofy stipulation match, the Nigerian
yeah.
drum match. But I mean, but Apollo Cruz, he's one he can go, and
Oh
he
yeah.
he's just one big or one. Okay, he's a little muscle, because he's only
Yeah.
like 5'5" or 5'6". He's not real tall, but I mean,
No.
he's just like
I mean, but a guy that muscular to be able to move like he does is
exactly
incredible.
like the standing moonsaults and everything else. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and if he's landing on you, and if it's just muscle, it's going to
Hmm.
hurt,
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, y'all figure out what to do with Apollo Crews, please. And
Yeah.
stop making,
Do something with him.
thankfully he dropped the accent. You
Yeah.
know, now I'm
Yeah.
waiting for Triple H to say, "Hey, what happened to your accent?" Because that was just funny.
Yeah.
The next match was a little short, especially for a triple threat match, which my feelings on triple threat matches anyway.
Yeah.
I think didn't we call Austin Theory was probably going to win,
Uh-huh.
and it was
And
probably
we called how he won it is how
yep,
we called it.
he was going to throw the other one out of the ring after he
Yeah.
did whatever their special move
Bobby
was, and
Bobby Lashley hit the spear on Bronson Reed. And then Theory throws Bobby out, pins Bronson, escapes with the title. He did what a heel's supposed to do.
yep, and that's
He he found a way to win.
exactly. And I'm not like I said, unless it's an elimination match, which
Hmm.
to me it's just a way. That obviously didn't happen this time, but it's a way for a champion to lose their title without actually losing the match.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
lazy. Like when you have a champion drop a title in a WWE triple threat match,
yeah,
it's lazy booking. It's like, oh, we've booked ourselves into a corner, so let's book this triple threat, have him drop the title. That way we can come back to him later and use oh, well, I never got pinned for the title, so I never lost it.
right.
Stuff like that. But this was a pretty good match. I agree that it was
It was
short,
just short. I mean, it was just all of a sudden
but
it's like, well, it's over. It's like, is
yeah,
it?
but yeah, I still thought it was good. It was a good showing for everybody. Bobby Lashley was so over like usual.
Yes.
If they don't book him and Roman soon because Bobby got drafted to SmackDown, I need
Mhm.
him versus Roman for the title. Even
Like
if you
Matt,
don't give it to Bobby, just book the match because the match would be great.
and make Bobby look strong, even if he loses. I want
Yeah,
him to look strong. In fact, it's
yeah,
better if he looks strong.
yeah. I need you to throw every member of the bloodline at him in order for Roman to be able to win. That's what's going to be believable. Is Roman uses his pawns basically
Hmm.
to throw at Bobby in order to distract him enough so he can win.
Now, the match itself was decent enough, but the story of this one was the reception for Zelina Vega when she was going against Rhea.
Oh, oh my God, that gave me goosebumps. That was
Yeah,
amazing, and you could tell she couldn't. She was trying to keep compose herself, but you could tell what it meant to her, and that
yeah,
was she didn't win the title, but that to me that was probably more important to her than the championship. The reception
yep,
that she got, you know,
yeah.
at
Because
home.
she
So
came out repping. She had the Puerto Rican flag as part of her gear, and then like her gear. Like
yeah,
her tights and trunks was also the Puerto Rican flag. And for those who don't know, like
she had the
her,
extensions in her hair and
yes,
everything. That was the colors, and yeah,
and I mean, and I know that I've heard the term New Yorican because she was actually born and raised in New York City. However, her parents are
or
Puerto
Puerto
Rican,
Rican. Yeah,
and so I mean that is her heritage. So she has
yeah,
family there, and
yeah,
she considers
exactly.
Yeah, she considers
I
herself
mean,
Puerto
even though
Rican.
she was born and raised in, in New York, but she's Puerto Rican, you
Hmm.
know. So,
And and you could, yeah, like you said, you could see it in her face. And I even
oh
texted you,
yeah,
and I was like, dude,
yeah,
the pop that Zelina Vega just got,
oh yeah.
and
And it was so good to see because they a lot of times they do people so dirty in, at home.
yeah,
WWE has a bad habit of doing that. And yes, did she lose at home? Yes. But they gave they gave her the time
yep.
to soak in, that, admiration from the crowd. And you know, that's really good. And Rhea was Rhea. She was
Hmm.
amazing as always. She sold for Zelina Vega. She showed off her power. She just screams star.
She does.
Everything about her screams star.
And
And the white outfit was
yep.
fantastic.
I was speaking of outfits. I've seen a lot of people talking about Bailey's outfit that she was wearing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, we could talk fashion at some point, but but, yeah, that match. I mean, I think the match couldn't have it couldn't have lived up to the intro anyway. There's no way
No,
because
and
that
we knew Zelina wasn't winning.
yeah,
I
but I
mean,
mean we knew it was going to be a decent match. We knew Zelina can we know she can
mm-hmm.
go, and we know
Yeah,
what Rhea Ripley can do, and
yeah.
um but they made Zelina, she still looks strong even in defeat.
Oh yeah.
Um, and the crowd just absolutely just blew up when she came in. Now I was a little surprised that the next match was uh the San Juan, if I can say that correctly.
Yeah.
Like welcome back out of Epstein from San Juan.
San Juan. Yeah.
And the San Juan street fight between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Um, San Juan because both these guys are Puerto Rican
Mm-hmm.
also. Um,
Yep.
Damian Priest, that was actually where I'd read the term also. He was actually born in New York, so he was a New Yorican, but he was actually
Mm-hmm.
raised in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we know Bad Bunny
Yeah.
is, is from Puerto Rico, and so this one, who do you, if you were that crowd, who would I mean? They were pulling for Bad Bunny, but at the same time,
Yeah,
they
because
were
it was two hometown guys, and yeah, the crowd was you could tell the crowd was torn, but Mark Henry said it best on Busted Open Radio. He said Bad Bunny is the best celebrity wrestler ever. He's
yes,
like he's put in the work. He understands the business. He's like times when he got knocked down, he would reach for the rope. He's like a wrestler does to pull himself up. He didn't just lay there and crawl across the mat and things like that. And I agree. And that ovation from him was fantastic. And then he was doing stuff in that match that I was just sitting there the whole match like, wow. I mean, he's getting Damian Priest up for a Michinoku driver. He's hitting Canadian destroyers, you know, just and then his selling was top notch too. It's like he didn't sell like a celebrity that was out of his element. He sold like a pro wrestler. He sold the offense. Even when people online would be like, "Oh, well, there was some sloppy stuff in there where like there's one time Bad Bunny tripped over he had done a move and then tripped over Damian Priest's feet and kind of stumbled. And it's like, but in the context of that match, all of that works
hmm
because it's a street fight. And in a street fight, anything goes. And it's not going to be this beautiful choreographed thing. It's going to be a fight, and you're going to stagger around, and you're going to get knocked down, and you're going to stumble. And I thought the match was excellent. I also thought the match should have been the main event.
yes, I don't know why it wasn't, especially considering where they were, and because they followed a hometown match with a hometown match,
Hometown match. Yeah.
and that to me didn't make any sense. I mean, they may have had reasons for it, but
The
um,
only reason I can think of is because Brock Lesnar was on that card.
yeah, but still,
And how
Brock Lesnar ain't from the island.
no, but how many times? But yeah, but this, but you can see puppeteer Vince McMahon being like, "Oh, well,
Okay,
Brock's on the card. Brock's got a main event. We
Brock's
don't
got a
have
main
Brock in the
event, or we're gonna have him in the first match so he can go home.
exactly." But you never see Brock in the mid card ever.
Nope.
He's either top of the card or opening match so he can dip out, and which is kind of crappy because I feel like not only was this street fight deserving of the main event for the performance these two men put on, these two men were at home. Give them the main event.
Yep. And I thought it was going to be the main event. I was
I did
thinking
too.
it would make sense for it to be the main event. Uh,
Yep.
but I think you're talking about pops. Okay, first when Ray came out,
Hmm.
and he was smacking his son upside the head. Um, and then Carlito came out,
That pop was great.
and then
How's
the
dude look like he's in better shape now than
he
he was when
does.
he debuted? It's like, and he was in good shape then, but how does he look in better shape now?
I don't know. I mean, it must be on all the apples that you choose and spit.
Must be
So, then more music hit, and I had to think, I was like, that sounds familiar. It was Savio Vega coming out,
Savio Vega.
and
Yeah.
I was like, all
I
right. I
knew
was like,
Savio Vega was going to come out though, but when they showed him giving that earlier in the show, I had a feeling Savio Vega was going to come out. But it was cool to see. And then he brings the LWO out, and
yeah,
then
well, I think wasn't Carlito? Wasn't he wearing an LWO shirt?
yep, yep,
And yeah, so that also, and it wasn't the normal color. The normal colors of the LWO shirts are the Mexican flag. This one was
yeah.
the Puerto
This
Rican
is
flag,
Puerto Rican flag. Yeah,
and that was just. I'm like, all right, who else is coming out? And,
yeah. It's like, who else we got?
and I think I actually, because I looked at my phone and I saw I had on the Wikipedia the history. I had looked up Carlos Colon. I think I actually looked up to how old he was to think, okay, is he too old to come out?
He
Because
could have done like Savio and came out and just called,
I, you
told
know, it,
everybody where to go.
if Carlos Colon would have came out just for that one part,
Oh,
that place would have exploded.
oh my God. Yeah. The whole building would have collapsed because that crowd would have just lost it.
Yeah, they'll be glad to see that youngster. So,
Yeah. This
um,
youngster, come on, stop that.
for those of y'all wondering what we're talking about now, Royal Rumble in '95, I believe.
Yes, yes.
Carlos
Was
Colon
it
was a
95
is either
or
95 or
was it?
96.
I think it was 96 actually. Yeah.
Okay, so he came out and surprise entrance, and Gorilla Monsoon on commentary referred to him as that youngster. It's like the dude's in his 40s.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's in his mid 40s at that time in 96. So it's like, come on, Monsoon, stop it.
Yep. So but that match, I mean, was just nonstop action from word go.
Oh
Getting
yeah.
yeah, getting Judgment Day involved. I still don't like. I respect Bad Bunny. I mean, all the work he's put in.
Yeah.
I still don't like though that he went over because Damian Priest needed it more.
I did see on Twitter that Damian Priest, he like he said that this but Backlash was his WrestleMania. He said, I got to go home. I
Okay,
got to perform against a good friend of mine. He's like, I was given the responsibility to guide him through this match. He's like, which says a lot of what the company thinks of me, that they would give
okay,
me that responsibility. So he's like, he said he didn't really have a problem with losing. And the way I look at it is, I said it before on the preview. It's like, I don't think it's going to hurt Damian Priest because he was still there Monday. Bad Bunny's, off doing, he's doing music and stuff. He's a musician. So, you know, I don't really think it's hurting. It hurt Damian Priest because, especially not the reaction that he got, the job he did in that match, and the fact that the company thinks enough of him to give him the responsibility to guide this celebrity through this match.
And I will say, I think they, speaking of seeds being planted, I think
Mm-hmm.
they may be planting the seed for Damian Priest to be booted out of Judgment Day because he keeps losing, because
Could be,
he also
could
lost
be.
last night.
Yeah. And
So,
here's the thing: I know it's supposed to look like Finn Balor is the leader of Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley's the leader of that group.
yes, because
The
she,
group goes where Rhea goes, even before she was champion, but especially now that she's the SmackDown Women's Champion. She's the only one with the belt. She's a leader by default
because
because
I'm telling you now,
she's done what the rest of them couldn't do.
I'm telling you now, if she looks at Finn Balor and says, "I want a shoulder massage right now," and he's looking for the baby oil.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
no doubt.
mean, yeah,
I mean, I
she's.
would be so.
I mean, yeah, I mean, she's like lunch money, car keys, and a back rub. Oh,
Yeah,
here you
it's like
go. Wink.
here you go.
I'll walk. you know, can't catch the bus. Don't have any money. you
Yeah.
know, but yeah. So I mean, and David Priest, he is one. I mean, I've always thought he may be part of the faction, but if anybody could really stand out on their own, actually, I think all
Oh
three of them.
yeah.
To be honest with you, but Damian
Uh,
Priest, he could
Oh yeah.
really, you
I
know,
mean, he was North American champion when he was in NXT. When he was on the independent scene, he was known as Punishment Martinez. He was the Ring of Honor World Television Champion. Um, did great work there. So yeah, he could definitely stand out on his own. He's another one that just screams star.
yes.
He's got the look. He's good on the mic. He's, and not every, and the thing is, being good on the mic, to me, he's good on the mic. Is he Rock level or Austin level good? No, but you don't come across that kind
Mm-mm.
of, I mean, you look at the people that are really good in history, really good on the microphone: Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Stone Cold, The Rock, Randy Savage.
Yep.
I mean, it's not a extremely long list of guys that were just these over the top, you know, personas that just bring you in. Damian Priest is more on that Arn Anderson level of I don't have to yell. I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do to you, and then I'm going to go out there and do
Legitimately tough, and that's what you think. Oh, they're tough. I'm gonna
it.
step out.
Exactly.
I'm gonna stay out of their way.
Yeah, I'm going to stay out of the way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if they want to cut in front of me in line at the grocery
Yeah,
store,
yeah,
go right ahead. You know.
yep.
So,
No
I,
problems here.
yep, you talked your way into it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
um, but with Damian Priest losing again last night, I mean, I think there was seeds are planted because I've also
Oh
seen
yeah.
rumors that they'll be bringing somebody else in.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Not sure who it would be, but yeah, I could see them moving him out and him turning face and kind of pulling that edge thing and fighting against the group that he helped build and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, he did a great job at Backlash. So hopefully
Uh,
they do, hopefully they do right by him and give him a good push.
Now the next match, the 6 man match, which I still don't
Yeah.
understand. Why would you have your brand new tag team champions not defend the titles? I
Here is,
not
go ahead.
I wasn't a fan of this match. I mean, it
I,
just
it bored me.
yeah, maybe
It honestly
because of the
did.
match it just followed, it didn't
I
help.
think I
But
think it's because of that, and I think this story's been told. The story was told to completion at WrestleMania when Zayn and Owens beat the Usos for the tag titles. That's the end of the story. Everybody needs to move on to something else. Matt Riddle getting shoehorned in here just because, quote unquote, he got injured by Solo, which in reality he went to rehab for 4 months, and the Solo thing was how they wrote him off TV. So they bring Riddle back, which Riddle is good. I'm fine with Matt Riddle in small doses, like
mhm.
little chunks. but he gets on my nerves really quick. That whole original bro thing that gets on
It
my nerves.
yeah, it's run its
It's
course.
like
I
for
mean, and I grant I think
it's
it's his personality,
yeah, oh yeah, I think
but
it's him, but it's the smoked out surfer dude thing, and it's like stop. It's annoying. Just it annoys me. And sticking him with Owens and Zayn, and then having them fight the Usos. The most interesting thing in the whole match was the animosity between Solo and the Usos.
yeah.
And was Solo about to just crush somebody's throat with a Samoan spike? That was the interesting part. The rest of the match was just boring, and I just was just waiting for it to be over so I could get to the next match.
And it was 22 minutes, so it was almost as long as the match before it, which was phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They could have shaved some time off that, gave that time to the triple threat,
Hmm.
flesh that out a little more, gave Rhea and Zelena a little more time.
Yep.
If nothing else, let Zelena soak in the adulation for a little while longer. But this match, to me, this match was unnecessary. There was no the tag titles weren't on the line, so what was the point? I hate when you have champions in 6-man tags.
This was a Raw or SmackDown match.
Absolutely, this was a
Yeah.
Raw or SmackDown main event, but it was not a pay
Yeah.
per view caliber match.
Yeah. I'd even dare say this was like a house show main event.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
And, hey, you get to see them. They're not defending the titles, but you are getting to see them. And this is only
And
like, go ahead.
another thing about them not defending the titles. Here's the problem, and we'll get to you know the finals of the world title tournament, quote unquote. But the show is called Night of Champions, but it's in Saudi.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, it's in
oh,
Jeddah.
that means you're not going to have at least half of
So
your. You're not. Well, you're not. You might as well say you're not going to have either one of them there because,
you're not going to have your tag champions because Sami Zayn's not going,
and they can't force him.
and and they can't make him. Kevin Owens won't go because his best friend's not going. I mean, he's supported Sami Zayn and refused to go the last few times that they went to Jeddah.
Yep.
So
I think
so
I
now
want to
you're
say
going to have
I think Kevin Owens has only been to Saudi just maybe, and I'll have to check. Maybe the first one with the 60-man Royal Rumble or whatever it
I
was.
think so. I think he went to the first one, and then I think when all that stuff happened with the reporter and all that kind of stuff, um, um, he took a stand. John Cena did.
Yep.
Um,
Daniel Bryan did.
Daniel Bryan did, and the company can't force them. So,
Yep.
so now you've got Night of Champions, where every championship in the company is supposed to be defended, except your tag titles aren't going to. So what do?
Mm,
Have them drop the tag titles in the next 3 weeks just to get the titles on the show? Or do you not have your tag champions on there because you're going back to Jeddah and knowing knowing the Sami Zayn issue, the Kevin Owens issue, they know what's going on. You put the belt on these guys for a reason, but now they're not going to this country to defend them.
and MVP is also not going to go, but that's another
Yep.
story. Um,
Yep.
and because that this goes. I mean, we'll do a slight delve into a little bit of political stuff, or religious stuff, however you want to look at it,
Mm-hmm.
because Sami Zayn is Syrian Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Saudi Arabia and Syria have had some issues. We
Mm-hmm.
could go to a long, just go look it up on
Yeah.
YouTube and you can go read about
Yeah.
it. But they've had some issues, and for his own personal safety and
Yep.
his own personal beliefs, Sami Zayn, or I actually don't know his real name, but
Not sure.
right, but I mean, his parents. Well, we say they immigrated to Canada from Syria. No, they fled
They
Syria and went to
fled
Canada
Syria. Yeah. Yep.
because of some stuff with Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
And now he won't go back to Saudi. Well, he won't go to Saudi because he actually fears for his safety.
Hmm.
MVP was Muslim, but has since decided he's
Hmm.
no longer a Muslim,
Hmm.
which that is a crime in
Yep. Hmm.
Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Apostasy.
So, yeah, so he cannot go, which means Omos is not going because that's the pairing, and Omos needs that veteran
He does.
guidance, so to speak. He needs that. He needs MVP's presence right there because MVP is a veteran, and he, can kind of guide him through stuff. And so I don't see Omos going either. But yeah, I was just glad when this match was over so we could get to the
Yeah,
next one. Um, Cody versus Brock was the main event. I still say Bad Bunny and Damian Priest should have been the main
should have
event,
been.
but
Yep.
I thought, honestly, I thought this was a good match. I thought Brock
Yeah.
was actually invested in this match. When Brock is interested or invested in a match, he will give you a good match. If he's not, then he's going to give you a WrestleMania match like he did against Dean Ambrose, where he just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Um, but Cody was smart by jumping him in the beginning. It's like fighting a bear. You don't let the bear get a hold of you.
Right.
And Brock busted open the hard way, which was always supposed to happen. It was not accidental, it was planned. But Brock wasn't going to blade, he was going to do it the hard way. So when he busted his head on that turnbuckle, that was legit.
I'll give him a little bit of props for that because,
Hmm.
I mean, now granted, you're not going to catch me taking a razor blade and slicing my forehead anyway.
Yeah.
But that is kind of the almost the easy way, like you said, the hard way, literally. You know,
Yeah. Literally hitting your forehead hard enough to split it open. But the blood, to me, the blood added. Sorry, guys, that was my diabetes alarm. Um,
it was that Pop Tart you ate, wasn't
Probably.
it?
Probably so because it said high glucose. So I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
we'll leave that over there. I already know what it was. But the blood that adding that color to this made it look like a fight.
Hmm.
It made it look like Cody had a chance because Brock is always booked as this unbeatable monster that nobody has a chance against. Cody's, story wise, Cody split him open. Cody was attacking the wound, everything. He was hitting him with all his moves. He hit him with crossroads multiple times. Um, Even winning the match, he used a wrestling move. He shifted Brock's weight and used it
Hmm.
against him. And I hate the greatest move WWE has to offer is the roll up, but in this match it made sense.
Yes.
Cody was not going to. He had hit Brock with everything that he had, crossroads, Cody cutter, everything, and Brock was still getting up. So Brock caught him in the Kimura lock. Cody shifted his weight and used Brock's own weight against him and pinned him, and then
Which,
was smart and got out. he
yes.
didn't he didn't stand around and wait and soak up the crowd. He got out quick. He knew he got away with one, and he was gone.
And like you said, the surprise, the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, the surprise roll up.
Yeah,
But this way he did it though, like you said, I mean, it was a counter, and he used Brock's own weight against him because the surprise
yeah,
roll up, to be honest with you, is like one of the stupidest moves ever.
it is. Yeah,
I mean,
it's like how do you get caught like that? But with this, he's trapped in an armbar, but is able to, as Taz would say, he popped his hips and shifted and got Brock's weight on his own shoulders.
a legitimate wrestling move, which by the way, people they don't really talk about this too much. Cody wrestled in high school.
He wrestled in high school. He wrestled in, I think he wrestled in college for a little
Did he?
bit too.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
Wouldn't
he's
surprise me. So
yeah, but he's a wrestler. He knows what to do, and that was a wrestling move. And I always like to see a match end with a wrestling move. So I was fine with. Some people didn't like that Cody won. I did because It's like a unicorn. You don't hardly ever see Brock Lesnar
Mm.
lose. So I thought it was great that Brock did the job. It led into last night on Raw. Cody was in a triple threat match to in the World Heavyweight Title tournament, because tournaments aren't decided by triple threat matches. But Cody was in a triple threat match. He was about to win it, and Brock comes out, mauls Cody, screams into the microphone, talking about he wants a fight. So that's going to be the next that there. This feud is going to continue, which I'm fine with because I'm actually interested in this feud. Um, and it's Cody's road to redemption. He goes through all this. He returns to the company that he left 6 years prior. He has a terrible injury, gives us one of the best Hell in a Cell matches ever, goes and has surgery the next day, is out until the Rumble, comes back, wins the Rumble, goes to WrestleMania, but he loses in his pursuit of a world title. So then he's in the world title tournament, is attacked by Brock and loses that opportunity. This is like a road to redemption thing. You can see the seeds that they're planting to get him back to Roman next year.
And you mentioned earlier when Brock had his match against Dean Ambrose, and he just didn't care. He just flung.
No, he just didn't care.
Yeah, he went off what the match was supposed to be, and
Mm-hmm.
he decided he was just going to squash Dean Ambrose because he could. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I don't think that John Good could actually have a chance against Brock Lesnar. So, and I'm talking about the real person, John Good from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You know, um, but with Cody, even though he could legitimately um, probably take Cody out,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it won't be a squash. I mean, because Cody, like I said, I mean, we know he wrestled in high school. He may have wrestled in college, so he's
But
legit.
Cody's a Rhodes,
And
and
Cody's a
the
Rhodes.
Rhodes, if the Rhodes know how to fight. I mean,
Yeah,
you look at Dusty, you look at Dustin. I mean, they know how to fight. So,
yeah, like legit fight. And,
mm-hmm.
so, and plus the name alone also, what's he going to do? Go in there and squash Cody? Well,
Yeah.
I know the name McMahon also, obviously, the name McMahon carries probably more weight than the name Rhodes, but I think the name McMahon's dropping some because of what's been happening.
Uh-huh.
And
And like Cody says in his theme song, wrestling has more than one royal family.
mhm. And uh sorry, I just got a weird message on LinkedIn because I changed my stuff today. Oh, somebody said I'm interested in receiving updates on job openings. I can sign up for a job newsletter by following this link. Really? That's what you're going to tell me to sign up for a newsletter?
Yep, pretty
Come
much.
on, people. I do appreciate it, but at the same time, I'm looking for jobs. Yes, if
Yeah.
you, we always talk about our social media. It's kind of a, break big,
Excuse
but,
me.
dang, now you brought it up. You want to talk about
Yep.
it? That's an old Mr. Faulknerism. but,
Yep.
um, but, speaking of, we're talking about, so we haven't even given our contact listing info, but if you're watching on YouTube, you've already seen it flash through here a few times because that's how I set it up.
Mm-hmm.
But, um, but my other social media, you can actually find me on LinkedIn, because, and I changed that today to looking for work,
Mm-hmm.
so I've already had somebody hit me up with a recruiter. So, we'll see, just, we'll
Yeah.
see how that goes. But back to, Cody and Brock and the Rhodes family, like you said, there's wrestling doesn't just have one royal family.
Mm-hmm.
Brock was not going to get away with smacking
No.
around.
No.
Well, I don't feel like doing this, so I'm gonna do what I want.
Not this time, buddy.
Not this time.
But
And
because Cody has come back to the company with a lot of stroke, because I mean,
mhm,
he comes back in with using his nickname that he
yep,
built, the American Nightmare, his outfit, his entrance theme, pyro, everything that he had built elsewhere, he brought it with him. Cody's a smart enough businessman to be like, no, I'm not laying down for Brock. I know a lot of people do, but I ain't doing it.
Exactly.
We can have a competitive match or we can not have the match, but I'm not just getting squashed.
And I think Brock has also kind of matured since the thing with Dean Ambrose anyway. Even though I mean
Mm-hmm.
that was just a few years ago. I mean it wasn't that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but and that was during his second run in the company. But he was still pulling stuff like he did the first time
Yeah.
he was in the company when he was just young and just immature. But now he was
Yeah.
older and still immature. But now I think he's learned. Look, if you're squashing people, who are you beating? You
Yeah. Who
know,
are you beating? And is anybody interested? You
right?
know?
And so him and Cody can push each other up. They can pull each other
Mm-hmm.
up, and
Yep.
and like you said, now you're interested. I actually was not
Yeah.
interested when they first did this. I'm like, why are y'all doing this? You
I
know,
wasn't either until the match. And then I was like, okay, it was a really good match. It was much better than I expected. But then after what happened on Raw last night, now I'm really invested and I want to see where this goes. Because you got Brock requesting a fight.
yes,
You know, he's like, look at this face. He's like, I want to fight. If you've got Brock requesting a fight, you've pissed him off. And it's gonna be good
yeah,
because you can tell he's motivated to do this feud.
and um, wow, I had a thought and it totally just um. Oh, when Cody kind of reached over there and he just kind of pulled the padding off the turnbuckle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, they should have had that tied a little bit better. But when he pulled it off,
Yeah.
I'm there thinking, oh, foreshadowing, foreshadowing,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we knew it was going to come into play at some point. And then I turned my head for a second because my daughter was actually in the room. I was actually sitting in the office watching it on the TV that's actually behind this laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned my head for a second, say something to her. And I looked up, and Brock's whole face was just bloody, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what did I just miss?
Yep.
you
The old
know,
Crimson Mask.
and I was sitting there watching referee because like um told
Yeah.
Avery, I'm like,
You
referee's
notice they
supposed
didn't automatically stop the match.
right.
Like they've had a bad habit of if there's blood, it's like they'll stop it and it throws off the entire flow of the match. And the ref didn't, and then they kept wrestling, and then you didn't see the ref for a minute, and then the next thing you know, he comes back and he's got gloves on.
And he pulls the gloves, yeah, he gets them on. Um
Yeah.
Now I know this may seem weird. Maybe the reason they didn't stop the match also, even if they did know
Mm-hmm.
that it was going to happen, because they weren't actually in the continental United States or Alaska or Hawaii.
Could be so they didn't have to they'd have all that censor
I mean,
stuff
yeah,
that they normally would.
I mean, it's an American territory. Don't get me wrong, but
Oh yeah, but
it may still be a little different because I mean, as far as
yeah.
the athletic commissions and things like that.
And with Puerto Rico's history in wrestling of violence,
Actually, you know
well,
what
blood ain't.
they probably said, look, before this night's over, you're going to have some blood.
Yeah, there's some blood somewhere. We need some real violence.
We
So
want some blood, or you're not coming back.
yeah, yeah.
you know, um,
But this was a very good match, an excellent match. And the whole pay per view was good. I watched it. I watched it live, except for uh, Cody and Brock. I ended up watching it the next
hmm,
day, but it was excellent. Like I said, it fed into the world title tournament. Speaking of which, so stupid.
yes.
It was stupid to create another world title when Roman's walking around with two.
Mm.
But
the way
if you're going to do it, why are SmackDown people even involved? Because Roman got drafted to SmackDown. So he's carrying his two titles with him to SmackDown exclusively. So the World Heavyweight title was supposed to be exclusive to Raw. Then they do these tournaments determining the people in the finals by triple threat matches, which is so stupid.
mm,
But then they have them on Raw, and then they're going to have triple threat matches on SmackDown to determine the challenger to, as we know, it's Seth Rollins who ended up winning on the Raw side. Rumor has it it'll be AJ Styles who wins on the SmackDown side. Will the match be great? Absolutely. The match will be fantastic. but there's no mystery in who's going to win because
Yeah.
AJ's on SmackDown. They're not going to put the World Heavyweight title on AJ because he's not on Raw. It's going to Seth Rollins, as it should. I mean, if you're going to have a world champion on Raw, you pick the most over person. Nobody's more over than Seth Rollins right
Not on Raw, they're not.
now. Not on Raw. And
Well, I
but
don't know. Cody's on Raw, so
Cody's on Raw, but Cody's
yeah,
tied up with Brock.
true.
So other than Cody, Seth is the most over, you know. So and so I think Seth Rollins is doing like the best work of his career. And give the title to him. I don't have a problem with him winning the title. I just don't like them calling it a tournament when it's just a handful of triple threat matches. And then those people go on to face the winner. They had two triple threat matches. The winners of those went on to face each other to determine who got to the finals. It's not how a tournament works
Exactly.
at
And
all.
and and like I think I told you before we started recording that I keep forgetting that I can actually watch Raw when it's happening how many nights. So
Yeah.
so and I can't remember what else we're doing here. We're like I said, with me not being in it, with me not working right now, we're getting a lot of stuff done around the house,
hmm
and so I was caught up doing other things, and a lot of times like, oh, I'll just watch the recording later, and then I end up not watching the recording,
yeah.
so I'll go watch, I'll get on and watch the ups and downs from
hmm
what culture WWE on YouTube
Yeah.
with
Yep.
Simon Whistler, the bald headed
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
awesome. Um,
Yeah.
and but that already saw like the headlines, these notifications that said, "Oh, Seth Rollins is in the finals of the tournament." I'm like, how are they already done with half
Uh-huh.
of the tournament? I don't get that. And
Yeah.
then I saw those triple threat matches. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
That is lazy Vince McMahon booking right there. Because honestly, I can tell you the way Triple H books, there would have been an actual full on tournament. But the problem is you had Backlash, and then you got 3 weeks to build to Night of Champions. So they had to hurry up and get to the finals, get somebody to the finals so that they can hurry up and get the SmackDown star to the finals. So then they can start building that so that us dumb fans, as they think, will be
Uh-huh.
like, oh my God, who's going to win, Seth or AJ? Seth's winning.
He's on Raw.
There's no, he's on Raw. The title is exclusive to Raw. I would have been fine if they just given Seth Rollins the title. If they had just pulled Eric Bischoff, pulled the belt out of a case and handed it to him, like Eric Bischoff did Triple H. It's like, because this is not a tournament. This is just
No,
four triple threat matches, two singles matches, and then you got your competitors for the finals.
and they could have spread it out a little bit. And because I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking that okay, 12 people is a not a super goofy number to have for a tournament because you would have okay, you'll have four people that get a bye in the first round.
Yeah.
Then you go. There you go. Um,
Or you've got enough people on your roster, you can put some people on there that you know is not going to advance in the tournament, but
right.
they're going to fill a spot. You do that in the Rumble. You put people in there that you know you're not that are not going to win the Rumble. You can do it and make a for real tournament.
So they could have had it first round this week, second round next week,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, there you go.
But
Because yeah, it's the 27th of May is when
mm-hmm.
and that's on a Saturday,
Yep.
which means it'll be during the day, which means that once it ends, I will be probably leaving and going down to Covington to watch Women's Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
That's that very same night. We are not sponsoring this year, just because I actually talked to Big Mama. I'd already given her the heads up that we more than likely would not be able to sponsor because of money.
Mm-hmm.
It takes money, which means you got when you have to prioritize because all of a sudden you're not working.
Yep.
So
Yep.
not that I didn't want to sponsor them again, because especially since it's going to be held in Covington this time and not the VFW Hall in downtown Cincinnati, because it went really well last year. So they're like, yeah, we need a bigger
Yeah.
place, so But our friends from the DWO, they are sponsoring. I do know that. Um, and I don't know of other. I know they're sponsoring. Justin from TNC Sports Talk, he told me he's not. He's got his own, kind of stuff going on where he's like, yeah, I got to also make some financial decisions, and it's like
Hmm.
food sponsor. Well, got to go get some food.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So, but Tasha, Big Mama, she understood. She's like, oh, she's
Hmm.
like, by all means, she's like, you got to take care of your family and your house first.
Yeah.
So, um, but that's happening all the same day. Yeah, and that's
Hmm.
also Memorial Day weekend,
Yep.
which I'm like, why are y'all going to fly all the way over there on a 3-day weekend?
Yeah.
No.
Um, but uh, Backlash was excellent. The world title tournament is a foregone conclusion
Hmm.
that Seth's going to win. Still don't think there's any need for a third world title because they can call Roman's two belts the undisputed WWE Universal Championship or whatever. He's the Universal Champion and the WWE Champion. Those are two world championships, and then you create a third one. And then if you wanted to even throw in NXT, you've got another one in the developmental. It's like,
Hmm.
why do you need all these? It's corporate stuff. It's each each network, Fox and USA, they want world champions on their shows. I understand that, but at the same time, this is one of the reasons why I've always thought that WWE should have never went public because now you've got instead of people booking that know the business and understand it,
Hmm.
you've got corporate people involved that have no concept of the business or how things should go, and but they're paying the bills, so they get the majority say.
And what happened with WCW? It was
They
a
went. It was a nightmare. They
yeah, yep.
went out of business because you had suits. In the words of Arn Anderson, you had suits that have no idea about the business, telling wrestlers how to wrestle and how to do a wrestling show.
Oh, speaking of public and WWE, I just went and looked at their stock price. Man, I wish I'd have bought some like this time last year. It's gone up in the past year 83%.
Oh yeah, especially with this the sale to Endeavor
Mm-hmm.
that shot the stock prices up.
Yep. So once again, woulda, coulda, shoulda. If I get
Yeah,
myself a DeLorean that can go 88 miles an hour with a flux capacitor, I'm gonna do kind of like
going
Biff.
back.
Yeah, except for I'm not gonna gamble. I'm just gonna put it in some
Yeah,
stocks.
yeah. There
And
you
so,
go.
um, but yeah, this tournament, and if you look at who was in the tournament for SmackDown, one of the matches is Bobby Lashley, Sheamus, and I think that's the one with Austin Theory, isn't it?
I believe so.
First of all,
Austin Theory should not be in
he
it
should
because
not
he's the
be in it.
United States champion.
Exactly.
I've never liked the fact when they put champion, then when they put mid card champions in tournaments for world championships because it just devalues the mid card title. It tells people, oh, well, their title's not important. That's why they're in this tournament trying to get this title because their title's unimportant.
And the other one is AJ. So I was always thinking when I saw the list is three kind of more flyer types, but
Mm-hmm.
AJ, my crud, I'm going to go look it up. Actually, I have it pulled up. It's AJ, Edge, and Rey Mysterio.
Edge should not be involved in this at all.
No, we shouldn't.
Okay, I mean, he's an 11-time world champion. He's a Hall of Famer. He got to come back after an injury that everybody said that you know was career ending. He got to come back. He can leave on his own terms. Stop shoehorning him into stuff. You're taking a spot from somebody who could benefit, even in a losing effort. They could benefit from the fact of saying, "Hey, company thought enough of me to put me in this tournament." But no, you got Edge taking a spot, knowing he's not going to win.
He better not win. He shouldn't win. Can't
No,
have Edge in
he
there.
shouldn't win. No, there's
And
no
I was
reason
gonna
to.
think about though. It's AJ, Edge, and Rey Mysterio. The average
Yeah.
age of that is somewhere around 45.
Hmm. Here's the thing. Ray should have retired at WrestleMania. Nothing
Yep.
against Ray, Hall of Famer,
Love
former world
love watching
champion.
him, but yeah,
Love Ray Mysterio, but it was a stupid move to have Ray beat Dominic at WrestleMania. I still stand by that. Dominic needed that win way more than Ray Mysterio did. And now you've just got Ray kind of hanging around, still feuding with Dominic, but not having a match against him. And then it's like, oh, well, we're just going to throw Ray into this tournament, quote unquote. And it's just, I don't feel like either one of those guys should have been in that tournament because Ray should be retired already and Ed should be retired already.
here's if they really wanted to have a new title this flipping bad, and they have these guys where all of a sudden they're throwing them into their four triple threat matches and then two singles matches just to have the last singles match.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you take the 12 of them, add eight more, put them in a ring in a battle royal?
Yeah. And just have it, yeah. And then whoever wins the battle royal wins the title.
Boom. Would not be the first time they've done something like that.
They've done it before. They did it to Dean Ambrose with the U.S. title. That's how
Yeah.
Sheamus ended up winning it. Sheamus won it in a battle royal because Dean got eliminated. Dean had to defend it in a battle royal, got eliminated, and then Sheamus won.
Right. And, nobody squashes on a battle royal because everybody is in there fighting for it.
Yeah, and everybody's going to get thrown out except one guy. So nobody's getting squashed. But it's just, it was just a stupid idea to create another title. A stupid way to decide who's going to wrestle for the title. The only, the only bright spot is if it's Seth and AJ, we know the match is going to be top notch.
I am kind of wondering. All right, well, they'll probably have Austin Theory win it again, um, just because for some reason, he shouldn't even be in it because he's already the U.S. champion.
Yep.
I would love to see AJ and Bobby Lashley.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
That, yeah, you're talking
Yeah.
two very contrasting styles,
Yeah.
and that would be a very fun match to watch, I think.
Hmm.
But besides that, some of the other news, and I know we tend to forget about AEW, but right now WWE has just been such a train wreck dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Um,
AEW is just going along producing good wrestling every week. There's not a lot of, you know, last real drama that they had was the CM Punk thing.
yeah,
And so far they've been smart enough not to bring him back. So there originally hasn't been any news with AEW other than, hey, we're putting on good matches. So,
um, here recently there was a video that came out. Some kid brought a WWE title to an
hmm
AEW match, and he handed it to Darby Allin to sign, and he looked at it. All right, and he signed it.
hmm
He autographed this WWE belt for this kid, So
yeah.
I'm like, okay, you
Uh,
know what? That's pretty good. What's up?
yeah. There is one piece of news though. All Out is going to be in England at
That's
Wembley
right. It is.
Stadium, and they have sold. Can't remember exactly how many tickets, but I think they've already sold half the tickets for it,
Okay.
and it's not until I believe All Out is in August,
Okay.
and so that's going to be a huge show for AEW. They're also talking about doing another Forbidden Door show, so AEW is just they're just quietly going along being a quality wrestling company, and that's all you ask for.
Hmm.
No drama, no big news headlines all the time. Just week in and week out, we just put out a good product
And besides Trish Stratus turning heel, I don't why. But anyway, I
because they
don't
haven't
understand.
built up anybody else, and they got to have something for Becky to do.
Bailey, Bailey's right there. Becky and
Well,
Bailey would
they've already had the feud with Becky and Bailey.
will bring in Piper Nevins, formerly known as Drew Dewdrop.
Yes, I
Bring
don't
her
know
in.
why she's stuck on main event. It's like bring her in. Her and Becky had a really good match at the Rumble last year. It's like
Because Vince is back, and Vince likes his supermodels, kind of like clown shoes.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and the only other thing I can think of that I saw in wrestling this week that I thought was kind of interesting was apparently Charlotte Flair was in a cornhole tournament this weekend.
I saw a clip of that
like,
online, but
like,
I wasn't
huh?
honestly, I wasn't interested enough to click on the article. I was just like, she's not on TV every week, so I'm good.
And I'm like, oh, okay, good for her. I hate cornhole.
I
I
mean,
suck. You
she
know,
put Rhea Ripley over at
there you
WrestleMania.
go.
I give her props for that. And then she's took some more time off, so I'm fine with it.
I suck at cornhole. And I'm mad at it because apparently it's replaced horseshoes. I love playing horseshoes.
Yeah, yeah,
I was really good
yeah,
at horseshoes. Cornhole, I'm horrible at it. They're like flinging it, they're getting flat, and they're shooting like 3 pointers with it, nothing but net. And
yeah.
I'm like, "Fwing," and it goes just flies right
That's
off.
how mine goes. It's like boom, and it's like nah. I mean, I like playing it, but I'm just not any good
I'm like, I hate this stupid game, and
at
I'm
it.
gonna go eat myself a hamburger now. but
Yeah.
um, but I think for now we looks like we're going to be recording this Friday.
Yep.
It's going to be in the afternoon because I had kind of talked about me going to be out of work soon. We had not talked about you being out of work. Um,
Yeah.
but that also means we're looking at potentially recording during the daytime now.
Hmm.
Because you're already recording Intellectual Rockstar
Yep.
during the day, which go check that out. Got a brand new logo. I saw that.
Yeah. I did the first one just to kind of, get it out there and get started. And then I was telling Hope that I was like, thinking of another one. And I was kind of going through some stuff and I found that one and I'm like, I like that one. So I went with that one.
We already have some people that have been telling people to go to it, like our friend BC Hunter from
Yes. Yes.
Wrestling with the Truth, Wrestling with the War, Wrestling with the 80s, Wrestling with I mean, just awesome dude, Nova Scotia,
Hmm.
repping, and he's put us over so many times, and so I feel
Yes.
definitely got to return the favor in that because, but just a super awesome dude. But he's been putting your podcast over. I know he's talked
Mhm.
about the cubicle chat at times as well. I haven't been as prolific. I might be now that I'm also not doing crap during the day, except for cleaning up crap.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with my one dog, I'm literally cleaning up crap. I'm about to pitch the.
Mm,
He's old and he's in really really bad health. He's already survived cancer. He's blind in one eye and the other eye is getting there as well. He's lost
mm.
part of his hearing. He's got a lot of health issues, and it's like one of those. I'm like, this is why I started wearing shoes again around the house.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, because
Yep.
it's one thing to step in it when you step in it with bare feet.
Hmm.
It's like, and so anytime I have to get up in this dark, grab my phone, flashlight,
Yeah.
scanning
Yep.
to make sure. But yeah, during the day when I'm not actually doing something, cleaning up around the house or doing something, I can sit down and record. So
Yeah.
so now I'm
Yep.
thinking of more ideas. We've talked about. In fact, we need to schedule that. You coming back on Cubicle Chat because we've got some
Hmm.
ideas for that. As
Yep.
see, that's the one thing when you're not.
I need to have you on Intellectual Rockstar.
Heck yes. I mean, and see, that's the one thing. Like when you're not working, you have a lot of free time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so it's like, what do you do with this? Okay, well, I mean, and I do have some other. To be honest with you, I mean, I do have some other stuff I need to be studying for, like my
Hmm.
license. That now I don't
You
have.
got time for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the 50, 60 hours of work each week.
Yeah.
And plus the hour and a half driving time I was doing every day. 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back.
Hmm.
And yes, I know a lot of people's drives are even further though, so I can't
Right.
complain too much about that. But either way, so Friday looks like we are going to be recording. Looks like we're going to have a special guest, a return guest from last year. You
Hmm.
know, we're looking at having returned to the show Wildcat Chris Harris,
Yep.
and so looking forward to that one because that was a pretty fun interview last year, and
Yes, it was.
so we got to find out what the Wildcat is up to, which is a lot. He is a very very busy man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so but until we can actually talk again, whether it be Friday, whether it be tomorrow, whether I'm on your show before Friday, whether you're on my show before Friday, I just have to say to everybody out there, thank you for listening. Please go give us a 5-star review, give us a rating. If you actually give us a a 5-star rating with the review on Apple, because that's the one where you can do that, I
Hmm.
will actually read it on the air.
Yep.
And I checked yesterday and I didn't see any more. I will check again right now, and nope, no new one still. Now we have had other people give ratings. That does help. That actually helps with the algorithm. At least give us the
Hmm.
rating. That helps with the
Yeah.
algorithm that gets us
Yeah.
seen. As far as like the ones like suggested shows for other wrestling podcasts, people will say, "Oh, there's another one. Let me go check that one out," and it only
Hmm.
helps us.
Right.
So tell your friends about us. Share it. When you go on YouTube, same thing. Give a like, share, subscribe. Because we are at 121 subscribers now.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So, but hopefully we can kind of build that up as well, because Dwayne and I, we really love doing this,
Hmm.
and so the more people we can reach, the better. It only helps us. So, um, and plus, in addition to Wrestling with the Truth, definitely go check out Ted the Hillbilly Hill. He is
Yes.
everybody's favorite wrestling podcast mentor. He
Yeah.
is the Podfather for a reason. Um, and even though he's no longer on social media, his podcast is still there. You can also reach him at his email. I believe it's hillbillyhill at Gmail. Maybe
I talked
or
to him this morning. He's doing pretty good.
oh yeah, Ted's a super awesome guy. Um, we actually both have his actual phone number.
Yeah.
So we can
Yeah.
reach out to him directly. Which he's every time he's listened to one of our shows, he always gives me feedback. He'll text me and say, "Hey, I like that. You guys are doing a
Hmm.
good job." He's always been great about that, and so we try to return the favor for him as well. So, um, but now I'm just rambling, which is a kind of an indication that I'm getting tired.
He's getting
So
sleepy, people.
I'm getting sleepy. Pretty soon, I'm going to be talking all sorts of other stuff, and join me like, look, I know we're not working right now, but we still got to go to bed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I hadn't had supper yet, so I still got to go eat.
oh
So,
yeah, and see, no wonder your glucose is yelling at you.
yeah, I know, right?
All right, dude. But until we can talk again, my friend, good night and
All
God
right.
bless.
God bless.